All right, so this is the batter side. You want to do the same thing with the bearing edge. You want to just inspect it, make sure that it's nice and smooth, no bumps, ridges, anything like that, and just give it a little clean as well. And the same thing with your hoop. You want to just make sure that there's no dirt or anything where it's going to contact the skin. So I'm going to just do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to make sure that all of the lugs are tightened down finger tight. All right, so I'm just going to approach this in a similar way as I did the bottom head. So I'm going to start out pushing down in the center and just getting rid of all the wrinkles. And I'm going to use the opposing side method. I'm only quarter turn, half a turn, nothing too extreme. I think the top head is a lot different to the bottom head, obviously, because it's a lot thicker and a lot more forgiving. Right. So that's pretty low, and all of the, excuse my dirty finger marks, and that's pretty low, and most of the wrinkles are gone, but this head is so thick that you don't really need to worry too much about that. So I'm just going to chuck this tune bod on, and then this head I tune up to 356. It's a little bit lower, and I just find that works well, and it's a good sound and I like it, so that's what I use. With the batter side, I just use the drum key. I don't worry about the drumstick. The only reason I use the drumstick on the other side is obviously because the skin is a lot thinner and more easily damaged. You're not going to hit it anyway, so that's why I use the stick. But I'll just use the drum key for this side. So I'll do the same thing as I did on the other side. I'll just go half a turn up, and then I'll evaluate everything, and then I'll go from there. One thing that I find helps is if you get a cloth or a rag or something, and just on the snare side, just put that under so that the skin rests on that to muffle it. You'll get this head sound only. I think you get a bit funny readings if this head and the other head on the bottom are both resonating. all of it's very low, and all of the lugs are roughly the same size. So I'm going to use the hairdryer, and I'm just going to do the same thing as I did on the bottom, but I'm not going to do it as much with this, obviously, because there's no flat spots on this bearing edge for the snare. So it's going to take a lot less time for this head to mold to the bearing edge. So it's warm, but it's not that warm. As I said before, the batter head is pretty forgiving because it's so thick. So now that I've loosened up the skin, it's going to mold exactly to the bearing edge. So now I'll put the tune bolt back on there, and I'll start again. So it's at 200, I want it to be at 356, so it's got to come up a fair way. I'll just do the same thing as I did before. I'll do roughly half a turn on opposite edges. .286. They're all the same, and they're only at 286, 285. I've still got a fair way to come up, so I'll go again, another half a turn. Sweet, 335, not too far away. So what I'll do now is I will go up a quarter of a turn. $359. Okay, so all of the lugs are pretty similar. They're around the same numerical value, and therefore same, sort of really similar acoustically. They're a little bit high. So what I'm going to do is apply a fair bit of pressure, because this is the batter side and the skin is thicker. You can do this. I'm going to apply a pressure to the center of the skin to stretch it. I wouldn't use the hairdryer at this point, because I don't need to do it that much. I wouldn't recommend using the hairdryer any more than once, but I'm just going to apply a fair bit of pressure here. Just to stretch the skin a little bit more over the bearing edge, and then I'll start again. See, it's dropped. So the skin will stretch, and it'll wanna sort of come back to its original position somewhat. I find that if you do this, it will come up a little bit over time. So when we tighten up, on the batter side. We don't want to go too quickly, so just a little bit. At this point, it's because it's so close, it's not really important to do the opposite sides. I'm just bringing the ones that are lower up. This one's higher. This one's way too low. This one's too high. So this one's way too low, and everything else is going to affect it. So what I want to essentially do is bring everything down and bring this one up slightly. Alright, so at this point, they're all really similar. There's not too much of a difference between 355, 356, 357. There is acoustically, and I'd be much more pedantic about the tuning if I was recording. But at this stage, they're all pretty good. They're all pretty similar. And over time, as I said with the other head, this will, and especially being the top head, where you're gonna smack the crap out of it, it will stretch, and they're close enough now that we've made the head as even as possible, so that when it does stretch, it's gonna stretch at an even rate all around the skin. And so there are a lot of things affecting the skin that aren't smacking the crap out of it, like temperature. What else? The more you move it around, where you store it, again, that's probably temperature, but over time, it's just basically going to stretch anyway. So with where it is now, it's close enough to 356 that I'm quite happy to leave it where it is, and it'll stretch over time. After the first time I play it, I will retune it before I play again. So that pretty much concludes the seeding process. If you guys have got any questions or you want to ask me about something, this video is probably more directed at beginner or intermediate players, guys that have their own opinions about tuning. I'm not saying that this is the absolute best way to do it. I'm just telling you the way that I do it. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions about tuning. The way that I would tune this drum, or the snare drum, is really similar to the way I would do it with toms. And again, if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. Cheers.